Welcome back to the Feminine Leadership Summit. I'm really excited and honored to introduce you to our guest today, Jedaya Barboza. And Jedaya is a passionate rose womb priestess and teacher of tantric spiritual devotion. She has dedicated her existence to walking the footsteps of the Magdalene with every breath. Within the lineage of the sacred rose, whose origins are deeply rooted in Africa, Lemuria, and ancient Kemet, Jedaya activates and initiates the remembrance of the holy grail codes within women under the wings and guidance of Mother Osset. She is an initiated priestess of the blood mysteries and red tent. She is a womb whispering, plant medicine crafting, moon cycling witch, and midwife of the veils. Jedaya facilitates workshops, courses, trainings, one-on-one sessions, and big sister mentorships, fully in service and devotion to the goddess. And Jedaya was reborn to create change by inspiring, empowering, and co-creating a world of healthy spiritual transformation through Heroskamos, the sacred union and dance of the masculine and feminine, sacred sexuality, self-love, self-intimacy, bhakti, kundalini, sacred plant medicine, and women blood mysteries. Welcome, Jedaya.
Thank you so much, sister, for introducing me and for having me here with you.
Yeah, such a pleasure.
Yeah, it is.
Yay. Well, there's a lot of richness in just your bio, but I would love for you to just share for anybody that doesn't know you and your work a little bit more of your personal kind of journey of how you got to be walking the path you're on.
Yes, so my personal journey has been connecting with the energies of Venus, very much into astrology and into my own natal chart, and discovering that a lot of my planets are deeply associated with the planet Venus. And doing a lot of research on the planet, and this planet is like the goddess of love. It's one of the only feminine archetypes that we can deeply connect with within astrology. So there's the moon aspect, which is very feminine. There's Venus, and there's also the 4 Lilith placements in your chart too. So they're basically the only female archetypes in our chart, in our natal chart. And so Venus, we know, is like the goddess of love and beauty. And she shares, there's 2 different zodiacs that share this planet, and that is Taurus and Libra. And me too. I know, right? And then seeing Venus and her mothership as Mother Osset, and the 2 goddesses that would be working with Mother Osset or Isis would be Ma'at, who is the sister or the queen of the scales, and Heteru or Hathor, who is the goddess of beauty and nature and creativity. We know that, the Venus is very much associated with the heart chakra, and is where our heart chakra is connected to our womb chakra, to that root and the creativity that can blossom into its full potential when it's healed from all of the wounds that we have experienced from past lifetimes to this lifetime to even future lifetimes. And so when our heart chakra isn't, healed, and when we are not looking into ourselves in that way to heal from our wounds, we experience the wounds of the heart, the wounds of the rose. And I feel that my journey has very much been of heartbreak, of betrayal, of abandonment and rejection, regret, denial. All of these rose wounds I've experienced, and my mission has been of looking into myself and really holding up the mirror that Venus holds, and learning how to become balance and become the scales. And that that has been my journey, and I feel that I'm in a place now where I can still do that, because no one is ever exempt from trauma or tests or lessons from the universe. And so we're constantly going through all of these cycles and learning more and practicing, becoming more fully aligned with our goddess archetypes. And I work with the Venusian rose, and expanding my love and alchemizing suffering into a greater capacity to love and to be love and to be the example of that within my family dynamics, within my relationships. And it's a struggle, because some of those wounds they really hurt that deep, but our guides are always with us and are always watching over us. And the rose mystic is so beautiful that it just clears all of that debris, and you see the beauty within all aspects. So that has been my journey and how I got here, and what I'm still currently dancing with on this path.
Thank you for sharing. So beautiful. And I would love for you to speak a little deeper about the rose mysteries.
Yeah.
For anybody who's listening who doesn't know what that is, or doesn't have a relationship with maybe the goddess and the rose.
So when I feel into the rose and the rose mystica, I feel into the ancient temples, and where priestesses would gather in secrecy, and we're deeply anchoring in the divine feminine energies onto the planets. And I always say that Lemuria and Atlantis were never lost. They're still here, and we're still in those times. And there's just like a cyclical remembrance of these ancient practices, and that we are those priestesses. And when I think of the rose, first I think of the scientifical ways and medicinal ways in which the rose can help us. So we know that, well, the rose vibrates at 328 to 528 megahertz frequency. So it's the most high vibrational flower on this planet. And also Venus, and the way Venus dances around the sun and the earth, she makes this orbit, and it's kind of like a 5-petaled or 5-pointed star, Merkaba. And it also looks like a symbol of the rose, or just like how a rose would unfold its petals. Also within this rose mystica, we know that the rose is not just the flower, but it is the stem too, which is the masculine part of the rose. And on the stem, we have thorns. And I remember when I first got into wild harvesting and crafting, I would go out. I'm from Massachusetts, and the roses, they bloom on the shores of Massachusetts around July, August. And I was so into crafting and wild harvesting, and I was just touching the rose, and I would get pricked all the time, and I'm like, damn, this shit hurts. And I'm whoa, okay, I get it. Something within me remembered, this is me, I am that beauty, but I also have these thorny aspects, with all of the struggles that I've experienced in this life. And all of what I have experienced and gone through has made me so beautiful. And and where I can be in this place of seeing the beauty within others too, that are also like me and have experienced their own struggles, different from mine, but they have their thorny, edgy aspects too, and that makes them beautiful too. And
Mm.
it kind of clears all judgment, and just like we're able to stand in this place of like, I see you. It's the truth of who you are, and that's divine. And
Mm.
Mary Magdalene is one of the archetypes that we can work with, and is a teacher of this principle that we are fully human and fully divine. And so how can we see the beauty in a human being, and knowing that they are spirit,
Mm.
it's their vessel is a house, is a church where the spirit of life dwells in,
Mm.
and we must see that first,
Mm.
so
Mm.
yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, I've had such powerful connection to the rose myself, and just that symbolism of the being aware of our ouch parts,
Yes.
like our ouchies, and where it comes out in relationships and hurts others or affects ourselves. And yeah, fully accepting and being aware of those, then we can more like be inclusive of them, not try to like cut them off, yeah, but truly own them and allow others to be intimate with them as well. Like, oh, I have this thorn here, I have this ouch, like if you press this, it hurts, and then that might hurt you, but I'm really working on owning that
Yeah.
ouch inside of me.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I just love that you're speaking to, these archetypes, the goddess, and truly women that walked this earth, had a human journey and had an evolution themselves,
Yes.
and came back into kind of that inner union and connection with the divine within our human heart,
Yes.
and are walking alongside us as mentors, not as this kind of, I think we've really been taught like this hierarchy, right, in our spirituality and our religion.
Right.
But my kind of relationship and journey with these beings has been that like they're walking as equals alongside of us. Yeah, there's no hierarchy. They're like, yes, sister, like, yes, brother, like, keep going, I'm with you, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Reminds me of a dream that I had once of all of my guides standing like around me in a circle, and me and a few of my very close sisters were standing in the middle, and they were just like, putting their hands out like this and saying like, thank you for going back, and know that we are with you, and that we're your sisters and we are your equals. And like ever since that dream, like I haven't felt or thought of Maria Magdalena or Aset being, higher than me, but as my sister, as my equal, and someone or a being that I can, speak to and feel into, and, just working with me throughout all of my experiences. Yeah.
Beautiful. Why do you think, why for you, and maybe what you've witnessed in other women's lives, do you think it's so important for us to make connection with, this higher power, with our spirit, our soul, with these beings of unconditional love who are walking beside us?
I feel that it's very vital for us to open up into that higher frequency, because it lifts all of the oppression that has been handed to us, forced upon us, and that we still carry from our ancestors. And then it makes its way down to the 7 generations, to our children, and they're the future leaders of this world. So when we, who can be the matriarch of our family, if our family is still operating from old timelines that just don't fit within this new earth that we're on, we are the ones who who have to go within and have to knock on those doors, and to see ourselves and to meet with our dark goddess, and to realize our thorns, so that we can bring more awareness, for ourselves and to others that feel and hear a similar calling to do the same work, um, and don't know where to start. But we do this for our ancestors and the weight that we carry, because we're all still so connected to our ancestral lineage, from the womb, for hadas, for the men that carry the hadas in their womb, and like our ties are just so closely linked to that, and so like we can still be carrying around limiting stories and unworthiness within ourselves that aren't even ours, but are vows that our ancestors have, taken, and when our and within our womb portal, when we birth in new life, especially if it's human life, that those vows can get transferred, into that DNA, into that sacred seed. So I feel that it's very vital for us who feel and hear the call to do it and to step into that, and to really rise in our divinity and in the sacred power that is of God's power, is of the goddess's power. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. You just do it. And it's the courage of fully blossoming, is what is, like, bravo to you. I hear all of my guides say, like, all right, you've found the courage to do it, like, good job, like, I support you, and I'm going to keep supporting you, just because you said holy yes to yourself and holy yes to this mission, to this human and divine experience that you get to have. So
Beautiful. Thank you. As you were talking, I was just really feeling and seeing that womb, or as you said, in men, it's called the hara. Just as that, that portal, it's like the connection to the great mystery, the connection to the nothingness where life is born, and how that like connects all through time and space to our ancestors and all of life. And so in the womb we can carry these old programs and beliefs that have caused a lot of pain and suffering and trauma, but we also carry the answer to heal that and truly birth something new and beautiful.
Yes, that just like touches my soul, and I just feel deep truth and resonance with what you just shared. And it's only through experience, that I feel that truth in my heart and my soul. And you can read it in books and not fully like, all right, I'm reading this, but it's not fully grasped. It's like through the experiences that we get to have on this journey. Thank you for sharing that, sister.
And that like articulation only, it came from me having those experiences, but I'm not always able to articulate it.
Right.
But then in your kind of articulation, me getting, again, being led back into that connection, from those experiences on an embodied level, and then being like, oh, here I can articulate it more, which is why having these conversations is so powerful.
It's so powerful, the circling of women. And
yeah.
I love it so much. Yeah.
Like the best part of the job.
The best part.
Call it a job.
The circling of women and the conversations and the stories that can get passed down, from the red tent and the gathering of the sacred elder, the crone women, to the mother, to the maiden. And it's important. And it's so vital for us.
Just really quickly, will you touch on the red tent a little bit for us?
Yes. Oh my goddess. So the red tent is also something that just kind of pushed me onto this journey of opening up to the cosmic mother. Um, for so long, me and my mother have a very beautiful connection and a very close connection. And I have had so many just like past lifetime experiences with my mother. But there was a time in my life where we butted heads, and that I just could not no longer stay with her. And that separation from my mother opened me up to the cosmic, universal mother. And a sister came to me, or yeah, spirit sent a sister to me. Her name is Grail Corsini, and she is a facilitator of the Red Tent in Ashland, Oregon. And she was talking to me about the Red Tent, and I've never heard of it before. And she shared a book with me called The Red Tent by Anita. I can never remember her last
Me
name,
neither.
but she took the story of Dina, and Dina comes from the Bible. And in the Bible, Dina, her story is told in a very patriarchal, masculine way. And it talks of her rape, Dina's rape. And Anita took the story and gave voice, like a feminine voice, to Dina. And she brought back the minstrel huts or the moon lodge or the red tents, and how she would circle with her mother and be her sister wives, her mother's sisters, and their children. And they would talk about our first shed, our first bleed. They would, praise the goddess, and would, circle around like a statue of or representation of the goddess that they were, speaking with, or that they were guided by. And it was mostly like Inanna, like the ancient Sumerian and Mesopotamian goddesses. But I just really honored the fact that, it wasn't a masculine voice, sort of sharing a feminine's journey, but a feminine sharing a feminine's journey.
Yeah.
And that this feminine journey, was very sacred, and had a safe container for women to share their stories and their songs, and that it wasn't adulterated by the patriarchy of that time, but also with the struggles that they had to face when it came to the men in their lives not wanting them to praise the goddess in their own way. So they had to keep it very secret and private. But it's a story that kind of created this movement of women coming back together and returning back to circle and singing songs and dancing and laughing and crying and bleeding and birthing and dying in the red tent. So it's so magic. It's so magic. It's so yummy.
Yeah, just restoring that connection to our natural cycles and the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth that's happening through us, and connecting us together to celebrate that and be in it.
Yes.
Beautiful. So you're talking so much and bringing so much through on the feminine and the power of the feminine. And the summit's called the Feminine Leadership Summit. I would just love to hear, what is feminine leadership to you?
Yeah, what a beautiful question, because this has been coming to me through in like subtle waves and strong waves as well, for this past like 2 months, 3 months that I've been leading in a very like I'm here way, and have been attracting sisters on the same journey and path as me that see and hear me, and it feels really good. And like we're all sort of just holding each other in this container, like, hey, you're not alone, like I hear you, I see you, and like let's like do some work together and share these gifts together. Feminine leadership to me now looks like doing it and being so authentic and original and creative with it, and not having it be so serious, like it doesn't have to look or be a certain way.
Mm.
And let it just come out of you and however you want it to come out,
Mm.
and know that you're always going to be supported by women that see and hear and feel you and that are on the same journey as you. And there may be a little struggle, like when you first start. I know that there was for me. And for so long, I'm like, damn, like, where are all the sisters that, like, will, feel me and this truth that I'm trying to share?
Mm.
And, sooner or later they start coming in like in beautiful waves. And you're like, all right, like there's people out here that think and feel and, the same way that I do. And they're on board, I'm on board. And, I can be myself while doing it. And whether that's like, yeah, sharing all of yourself, sharing all of the beautiful things that you do, sharing also the struggles that you're experiencing in your life, because I feel this sort of like I can connect and relate to someone who shares all of themselves, all parts of themselves, and doesn't hide, and Inanna is a teacher, who's another goddess archetype that we can work with, who kind of walks with us through this descent through the 7 gates or 7 portals, 7 birthrights that are innate within us. And she brings us to this dark aspect of ourselves, and she says, like, I am fully human and fully divine, I have nothing to hide. And so like sharing all parts of you so that you're just ascending into beautiful like heights, like when you take in all aspects of yourself, all fragmented pieces of yourself, and make them whole and beautiful, and like say like, this is me, this has always been me, and this is what I'm sharing, and it will resonate with others, and it will touch others too, touch them in ways that they have never been touched before, and will make them feel so comfortable with being who they are and speaking their truth and however they want to speak their truth. So that's what feminine leadership is to me, is just like accessing the dark goddess and the light goddess, bringing them together, merging and morphing them into this beautiful whole divine human container, and just showing up however you feel called to show up, and being in the flow of that, and like really listening to that, to the intuition, to the divine within you. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really hearing full self-acceptance,
Yes.
and irreverence, like play and creativity and originality, and like breaking away from the boxes of how we think that it should be done or has been done, and just allowing it to come through.
Yes.
Beautiful. So my last question is, why now? Why are we being called into our feminine leadership now?
I feel that we're being called into our divine feminine leadership now because I always talk of the pendulum. And for those of you that don't know what a pendulum is a tool or a device that one can use for divination. Usually it's like a crystal hanging from a chain, and it swings back and forth, and like yes, no. But the pendulum swinging, is coming into balance, into the stillness actually of the divine or sacred masculine and sacred feminine coming together. So not, fully on one side, where before there was this masculine energy that was in power. And then like I could see like the rise of the feminine wanting to take back their power and take back control, and like, standing up, speaking out, And now we're coming into the sacred balance where the masculine meets the feminine. And now they're just looking eye to eye, like eye to eye level with each other. And like, all right, like we can dance together, you know, we can dance together in this beautiful way. And like, let's come together in the temple of the sun and the moon, and like, let's just coexist with each other, you know. And I feel that divine feminine is really anchoring in that energy of the N-word masculine, the marriage of the masculine and feminine aspect within. This is like sacred sexuality, like Kairos Gamos, the marriage, the sacred union of the divine masculine feminine coming in together. And I see that within a lot of like the sisters that are rising into their leadership with just their own inner king and queen coming together. And I see that in the way that they speak and the way that they like offer their gifts and their service, just in full devotion, you know, to that energy. And it's about time. It's about time that, you know, these energies coexist with each other, and one isn't overpowering the other. And I feel that it's just like, it's the Venusian rose, like the scales, the Libran scales, like in harmony and justice and balance and beauty and love coming together. And it's beautiful that we get to be alive in this time, you know, to experience that and to be the anchor of that and to be the example of that. So the time is now for harmony. The time is now for peace and for balance and for sweetness. And yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I say a whole yes to that.
Yeah. I'm good with like, we've learned through the suffering and the now, like we can fully own that, fully accept that in ourselves and in our stories, and like let's play now. Let's create. Let's have fun. I promise it's not gonna get boring. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sister.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for doing the work inside yourself to get to this place of being able to share the gift with the world, medicine with the world.
Thank you. Thank you also for being a beacon of light and for the journey that brought you here to the power of now.
Yes.
I know that it, you know, it's beautiful, and some parts of it may not be as beautiful, but it's all beautiful to me.
Yeah.
And I thank you and I honor you, and for your sacred feet that, you know, kisses the earth, and for your breath, and just celebrating all the human beings in this world right now that have found the courage to do the work and to blossom, to fully blossom.
I hope you're breathing that in as you listen. Yeah, I know that you have a gift to share with everybody also.
Yeah, so my gift is a guidebook that I brought together. It's called the Womb Steam Hydrotherapy Guidebook. And it's one of the practices that I love to practice and also share with my sisters, especially when we are clearing out our womb and releasing all the debris, the sticky, icky, gooey things. And the practice of womb steaming really helps us to enter back into the womb, to the womb, and creating more space for ourselves and for listening also. Because the womb has a voice and she speaks. And she actually wants to speak louder.
Yeah.
And she's like, please give me some room so that I can speak to you and so that you can hear me. And so the process of womb steaming, which is letting alchemy, water, fire, earth, air, just penetrate your whole womb memory system with sacred herbs and water and the fire. And it opens up this beautiful womb, and it releases mucus, it releases old blood residue, and it helps to create this natural flow for our menstrual cycles, It releases PMS too. It has a lot of offerings and gifts. And I offer this gift to all sisters that want to reconnect back to the sacred womb through this practice. And there's a lot of information in this guidebook. So,
So
yeah.
good. Thank you so much. Well. Yeah, we would love to hear from you what arises for you through this transmission, and just invite you into deeper connection with all parts of yourself, the beautiful blossoming rose that you are, that's in your heart, and also to fully embrace and fully accept and fully include the ouchy parts, the thorns, fully owning your humanity and your divinity. Much love to you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Jedaya.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, everyone.